All right, so let's now move forward. We just had a really good conversation about the benefits and investment model, and these are really important. So it's important for you to really spend some time, as I said, to really think about what the investment model is to you, and what areas of your life are you experiencing the benefits model, because that's not where you want to stay at. In fact, you want to be full on in the investment model. So let's look at my life according to me. Uh, how I live my life is a result of my decisions and the way I think. That's true. So you can't blame other people and say, guess what? You're the reason why I'm in this mess. No, if you have people in your life that are really bringing you down and are not helping to advance your purpose in your life, and they are not advancing their own purpose in their life, then the responsibility is still yours, because you're allowing these people in your life. But don't panic when I say that, because we have some things that we're going to talk about when we get to the healthy relationships piece of this curriculum, so that you know exactly how to manage that. Okay. All right. How I problem solve is based on the way I think. That's also correct. So you're problem solving based upon the information that you know, but you've already started getting some new information that's going to help you make different decisions. Maybe you're the person that always responds emotionally, and you think, oh, I'm just going to impulsively make this decision, and then it ends up blowing up in your face. Well, these are why we're showing you some of these principles, like the 5-10 principle that's coming up, the earlier one, the 1/8 inch principle, the zone of learning. All of these things are important for you to start taking on board and practicing, so that you can actually change how you problem solve. My ideas and beliefs are based upon the way I think. Absolutely. And so it's time to change the way you think. How do I view my problems, and even the problems of those around me, are based upon the way I think. So we keep underscoring the idea that everything about your life is based upon the way you're thinking. So it's time to change the way you think. So you can either have a growth mindset, which says, I want to change my thinking. I really learned a lot from the Russian coffee story. I don't want to be the woman that always says "niet," or the man that always says no. I want to actually change my life, and that's going to happen only if I change my thinking. That's a growth mindset. A fixed mindset says, no, I don't need to change. I know all this, and I don't need to change. Now, I've got to tell you this really funny story. Um, this, when I took one of my trips overseas, I was in England for the first time with a friend of mine, and as we were traveling, we kind of got lost at Heathrow because it is a big airport. And my friend went up to this man and she said, sir, we're lost and we need to get to our gate. And he said, well, what gate do you need to get to? And she said, gate number 2. And so he said, okay, this is what you do. You take this elevator, go down to the bottom floor, and when you get out, look up ahead of you and you'll see a sign that says gate number 2. Follow that sign. And then after you walk for a little bit, look up ahead and you're going to see another sign that says gate number 2. Follow that sign. He said, you'll walk a few more minutes, and he said, you'll see yet a third sign, and it'll say gate number 2. Follow it, and it'll take you right to gate number 2. And my friend thought about it for a moment, and she said, sir, we already did that. And he looked at her and he said, then why are you here? So what do we learn from that? Obviously, we didn't follow the signs, because if we'd followed the signs and applied all of that, we would be at our gate, but we were lost. And that's what happens with a fixed mindset. We think we've done all of these things. We think we've applied these things, but we haven't. Because if we're stuck, if we're really not where we want to be, we have a fixed mindset. We haven't applied what we've learned. And so the only way to know if you've applied what you've learned is you'll grow, and you will slip over into the investment model, and you will be able to experience your purpose, self-actualization. Okay, so let's move on to the next one. Okay, so here we are at the next one. How do I change the way I think? Now, there's a fundamental law in creating change in your life. And to discover purpose, it's to change the way you think. Well, how do you do that? This begins with you starting to think positively. Now, for those of you who are like, I'm a positive person, I always look at the bright side. If you are still stranded with a fixed mindset, you might think that you're being positive, but you may not be. And so we want to give you some tools on how to actually change that. And as I mentioned earlier, we're going to talk about the 5-10 principle. Because here's the really wonderful thing about our brain. It's brain plasticity. If we have a tendency of only thinking negatively, we will see everything negatively. We will only see the negative part of it. Everything kind of has this negative feel to it. Maybe you tend to be a little on the critical side. And you might say, well, I'm just being a realist. No, you're being critical and you're being negative. And so thinking positively and practicing being a positive person is going to change the chemistry in your brain so that you suddenly see life differently, because we want you to change your perception and your perspective. Remember, we used the cell phone as an example. We got to change the way we see that cell phone, what view we're coming at, because then it's actually going to change our brain. And this is one of the ways that we do it. It's called the 5-10 principle, and it's super easy. And you can do it all the time, and it's really fun. And so spend 5 minutes a day recalling a memory that brought you intense happiness. Now, you can't just like go, oh, that was nice, and smile. I want you to have a belly laugh with it. And so if you have to go look for a memory, or you have to create a memory, and if you're like, well, I don't have any memories that were fun, in fact, I can't even remember anything that was good in my life, then get on YouTube and Google funny animal movies or funny videos about whatever that makes you laugh. And so we want you to have that laughter experience because of what happens to your brain. And so after you spend 5 minutes laughing and really enjoying it and thinking that's really funny, then you take 10 minutes a day and you go find somebody and you tell them what that memory is. And you say, oh my gosh, I got to tell you something that's really funny. And you do this every day. And the more you do it, the more you're going to realize, wow, you know what? Things aren't as bad as I thought they were. Because I will tell you this, you cannot problem solve effectively if you're in a negative frame of mind. You have to be able to have a positive frame of mind, because it puts the different chemicals in your brain that'll help you to rest, and you're going to think differently. So problem solving actually will take a different twist with you when you practice this. You need to get into the habit of doing this every single day, because it's going to shift your thinking, and then watch, your behavior will start to shift. And so this is what we want you to do every single day. It has to be a commitment that you make, and you have to decide, I do want to have a better way of life. And I promise you, positive people have more opportunities in their life. They have, they're more attractive to healthy people, because I can tell you this right now, if you have a tendency of being negative, or always having negative drama in your life and not being able to get out of that, healthy people are going to spot you a mile away, and they're not going to want to be close to you. And they might be the person that has the answer to helping you open a door to your purpose. And so you don't want to isolate yourself from healthy people. You want to make sure that you are healthy. And I also want to caution you, don't do the fake happiness that says, oh yeah, everything's great, I'm fine. This needs to be genuine. If you're serious about becoming the authentic self, then what you need to do is practice this every single day. You don't have to just do it once. You can do it multiple times during the day. And then at the end of the day, when you go to bed at night, recall those wonderful, happy thoughts that you had, that funny video that you saw. Share it with somebody, or just lay in bed and laugh about it. And then you'll go to sleep. And so you continue to do this, and you're actually giving your brain a rest from the stress. Because we know that there's loads of health issues out there, and many times it's attributed to people who just are negative. And so we want to make sure that you are being genuinely, authentically happy, and you mean it. It'll show in your body, it'll make you healthier, and it will make you more attractive to people who are healthy as you're on this road to discovering your purpose. Okay? Wonderful. Finish this up and we'll hit the next session.